Started recording. Okay, we are going to start the case presentation. Welcome whoever is joined. I cannot see all of you on my video panel. Some of you have switched on your video, some are not. Today we are going to start with the case presentation. Since we are starting from today, we thought we'll start from short case presentations. I'll tell you briefly about case presentation, what is expected in exams, what you need to know for short case. When we come to long case, we'll deal with long case. Okay, short cases, usually 2 cases will be kept in exams. Sometimes some examiners are fond of keeping 3 cases also. Usually 2 cases will be kept. One is of ulcer, another is of swelling. As you know, swelling, the diagnosis will not be a swelling. So it will be a lipoma, sebaceous cyst, or a ganglion, or anything else. It will be like that. So ulcer is also, the diagnosis should not be an ulcer. So I hope that is all clear. We have to discuss the types of the ulcer, differential diagnosis. That's all. So the examination pattern will be something like you have to take a short history. Means a lot of doubts will be there to as of means what to take, whether to take the history or not. Sometimes in exams when we ask the student to start presenting, they will tell I have not taken history because it is a short case. It's not right. You have to take the history. That should be a short history. Short history means you are not going to go on negative history, past history, family history, all those things. If it is relevant, you will tell. Like you are suspecting some malignancy like Marjolin's ulcer or something like that, you will tell that there is nothing in family. Otherwise, you will not tell. So what is the presenting complaint? About that, you have to take the history. There is no substitution or replacement for that. So suppose he has come with an ulcer, you have to take history of the ulcer. How it started, what it means, brief. We are not going to ask you in detail, but you have to know about the history, because without history, you cannot make a diagnosis. So that is the idea of taking a short history. Here you are not expected to make a full general physical examination as in long case. So suppose if you observe grossly that patient is an anemic or a jaundice patient, you will tell the examiner that he is having jaundice or anemia or whatever, if it is striking, or you are having a idea of the ulcer is there, ulcer case is there, and you are not taken or you are not examined for anemia. That will be a mistake, because later you will be telling that anemia is a part and parcel of healing process, or whatever is your treatment protocol, everything. So that's how general physical examination goes, means relevant examination. Then examination of the region, that is in full. Okay. So usually you will be given 10 minutes each for short case in exams. So 20 minutes. Sometimes when there are less people, they will give 15 minutes each. So and usually for presentation and discussion, you will get around 15-20 minutes in front of examiner. The discussion will be mainly on the differential diagnosis and how you reach the diagnosis usually. Okay. So though the examination per se itself is 20 minutes and examination is 20 minutes, the class we cannot keep for 20 minutes. That will be too short. So here, as we go on discussion, in the discussion, we will be discussing little detail to cover most of the issues. But in examination, all these questions might not be asked for a single person. That's what I mean to say. Okay, Shashank?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your video went off, so I hope you are there. Yeah, okay.
I
So we'll
switched it
start with
on.
Shashank. He is H. Sharma. There are some other PGs and means 1 or 2 PGs have joined our unit PGs. and I had sent the invitation for the fourth term and sixth term also, ninth term also. Some of them have class, some have not if they are joining. Means it's not restricted only for your term. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we are going to start. Okay, Prashant. I'll be changing the slides. You go on. Okay.
Okay, sir. I would like to present to you the case of a 50-year-old gentleman named Mr. Balasubramaniam. He is an auto driver by occupation and he has studied till SSLC, and he is hailing from Madiwala in Bangalore. He earns around 20,000 rupees per month, and his socio-economic status comes to lower middle class as per modified Kupaswamy classification. And the date of examination was 3rd of February 2018.
Yeah, at this point, anybody has any doubt in that particular slide or discussion, you can write to everyone on chat. So I'll be answering that question. Okay. Or if Seshank sees the question, he'll also read out. So here, this slide, usually name is not announced when you're doing on social platform. So since this was a closed group discussion, the name is written here. Usually when you are putting on slide, the name should not be written. Means it is either Mr. X or Y, something like that. It's always better to mask the name. Then annual income and all you mentioned. If you got the information, you can mention. Otherwise, it's really not essential for a clinical case presentation to have an annual income and mention into modified Kupuswamy. So modified Kupuswamy classification deals with occupation and his average uh, lifestyle. So, means approximately you can tell, but no need to tell the examiner. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. He came with the presenting complaints of wound over left third toe since 2 weeks and pain in the left foot since 2 weeks.
Okay.
History of the presenting complaints. Patient is a known diabetic since 15 years, and 15 days back he hit a stone while walking in a park and got a small wound of approximately 1 into 1 centimeter on his left third toe on the plantar aspect. Wound gradually increased in size to involve the whole toe and a small extent of sole over the next 2 weeks when he came to the hospital.
Yeah. So here
As,
again, I would like to interrupt. So when you are presenting a history, it's good that you are written more sentence form. In case sheet, usually you will write a point wise form. Here you have written in a sentence form. It's good, but you have to tell in sentence form whether you have written
okay,
the case sheet in a point form or whatever. But usually in the short case, you are not really expected to write full history and all. It is for your remembering part. You will be writing. Um, Patient is a non-diabetic will usually not come in his present history. Okay, so
okay, sir.
let us keep some things like I always tell you have to follow something called KISS principle. Keep it simple and straight. Okay, so what is there you tell means don't add any adjectives. Don't make it decorative. Like if I ask you what is unknown diabetic, so there is nothing called a non-diabetic. Patient is a non-diabetic. He is a diabetic or not? That's all. It's not a non-diabetic, chronic diabetic. Here we are not really bothered about all those things. Plus,
Yes,
for
sir.
this symptom, was there anything which was going on earlier or not? Is our point of concern. So patient was asymptomatic earlier. Now he has got this
Yes, sir.
symptom. So here by telling that he is a non-diabetic and he developed a wound, you are drawing the examiner to diabetes. Okay, so the most of the means it might not look very apparent now, but what happens down the line when you are going through discussion of pathophysiology or whatever, the discussion will be more skewed or biased towards diabetes, and explaining everything in terms of diabetes might be difficult for you. Okay, you
Yes,
are
sir.
mentally prepared for ulcer, what are the types of edges, margins, all those things. But when they ask about diabetes and they ask about nephropathy, neuropathy, ischemic changes, microangiopathy, all those things, you have heard of the words, but the pathogenesis, all those things, you're really not mentally prepared. Means you might be knowing or not knowing, that's different. Mentally, you are not prepared for discussing diabetes, and it's not wise to go to diabetes and discuss in surgery. Okay, so patient was
Yes, sir.
asymptomatic, then he developed an ulcer, and see, you written when he hit a stone while walking in a park. Those things means, yeah, Das tells you have to tell patient's own words, but actually, really, are you telling patient's own words? It's not like that. What Das means is, do not use complicated medical words. That's all. Okay, the history should be as simple as possible. Like he developed a wound accidentally while walking. So we understand that he got hit by something or not. Means he hit a stone means it actually means that he hit a stone intentionally. Okay,
Okay, sir.
the grammar comes like that. So that's what accidentally he got an injury, after which he developed a wound in the left arm.
Yes,
That
sir.
should be fine. Otherwise, it's all fine. Yeah.
A patient also complains of intermittent vague aching pain at the site of wound from the past 2 weeks, non-progressive, non-radiating, aggravating on walking and relieving on rest.
So what do you comment on this?
Sir, whenever he's walking, there is pressure on the wound and he's having pain because of that.
Okay. Means you have told intermittent vague and aching.
Uh, Sir, he couldn't exactly say like where it was paining, but he says on walking the whole foot is paining.
Yeah. So here what I want to tell some tip is, sometimes patients will tell very vague terminologies like I just feel something is happening but I cannot tell, or diffuse means where they cannot really here you have told intermittent and vague. Usually the pain which is intermittent will not be vague. You understand what I'm telling? Usually intermittent pains are more of colic in nature, and usually they are of moderate to severe uh, things. And intermittent pains, what are the examples you can give for intermittent pain?
Abdominal colic,
Yeah,
um,
all the colic I
colic, yes.
already told, either it is
Yeah.
gallbladder colic or ureteric colic, renal colic, intestinal colic. Why this comes intermittently?
Sir, whenever the stone is stretching on the mucosa and the nerve fibers are,
Don't complicate
Whenever
things.
the
whenever
I'm telling
they
you
are
inflammation.
again,
receiving the signals.
keep it simple. See, all those things what I told now are all hollow organs. All the hollow organs have something called peristalsis. So when the pathology is there in some part and the peristalsis occur, when that particular part of the body moves, there will be pain. Okay. The mechanism later it stretches, then peritoneum is irritated, nerves are stimulated, all those things are there. So all these colics will have one thing in common, that it is having a lumen. And whenever there is some pathology, when that particular part of the lumen moves or having peristalsis, the pain comes. So that is why it is
Yes, sir.
intermittent. Whenever the peristalsis is not there, there is no pain. Whenever the peristalsis comes to that point, there is pain. That's why you call it as intermittent. There are other intermittent pains like claudication, which is not really of hollow organ, is it not? So how do you tell about those pains which are non-luminal organs?
Sir, it will be dull aching and diffuse in
Yeah,
nature.
usually the soft parts or even bony pain, all those will be usually dull aching, vague, all those things. But sometimes there will be intermittent type of pain, like in TAO, all those, where again that particular part when he moves, when he has some action, he has pain, otherwise he is not having pain. That's when you call it intermittent. Okay, so why I am telling so much is when you use the word intermittent, there is some periodicity. Either it might be morning it is more and afternoon it is less, or 1 hour it is more and another hour it is less, something like that. So here what happens is when he moves, pain comes. So it is a type of pain which aggravates on something and relieves on something. Is it not? So here there is
Yes.
a wound in a toe, and probably whenever he walks, he might have some pain, or when he does
Yes.
some activity, he might have pain. So that you cannot put as intermittent pain.
Okay,
So
sir.
you might have read about types of fever in medicine, where you get
Yes.
intermittent fever, where you see a spike of fever coming up and again reaching the baseline, again it comes up, then you call it intermittent. You understand? So you cannot call fever means a fever of tuberculosis is not an intermittent fever, is it not? Daily it is normal, having normal temperature, the patient is having normal temperature, but he
Only.
gets fever in the evening. So you won't call that
Yes.
fever as intermittent fever, is it not? There is no periodicity here.
Yes.
So that's what here you should not use a word intermittent. And intermittent and vague usually does not go together. Okay. So here you would have
Okay.
told there is pain, and what type of pain? Obviously, you will tell. Means it is dull aching, it aggravates on walking, and it relieves on resting. And you will also tell it is non-progressive, non-radiating, all of those. So here, what is the
Yes.
importance of pain when he has wound? What do you think this pain is coming from?
Sir, I didn't understand your question.
Means you have taken a history of pain and you have also made that pain as chief complaint, is it not?
Yes, sir.
So every complaint you should have an explanation that why is that happening and what is the importance of that pain.
Sir, I made it the chief complaint because like he came to the hospital because of both wound and pain. So I put it in the chief complaints. But the importance, like, uh, mm, sir, like if it is a case of diabetic ulcer and in the later stages there may be neuropathy and he may be insensitive to pain itself.
So what is the
And
so the ulcer is of 15 years, is it not?
15 days.
15 days. Yeah. So the pain is from how many days?
The same 15 days from
15
the
days.
time he has.
Yeah.
Uh,
So in
and
15 days you have asked for pain. So means what is the importance you want to give to the pain? That's what I am asking. Somebody is pointing out artificial insufficiency. Yeah, artificial insufficiency is not a cause of pain at the ulcer site. Usually artificial insufficiency will be in the bulk of the muscle mass. Like if the artificial insufficiency in the leg is there, it will be more pronounced in calf region. You know, yeah. So here you need to understand, here you have asked for pain. One, today ulcer has happened, there will be some pain. Tomorrow, yeah, it will be there. 15 days is something like, you can have some pain, but it won't be so much. Here you want to rule out some type of infections, whether the ulcer has got infected, and that starts some inflammation around, that is called cellulitis. So to rule out that, you have asked the history of pain. So he has told yes. So that means there might be some ongoing inflammation. That's what you
inflammation.
have to understand from that particular. Okay.
The wound was associated with scanty discharge from the past 10 days, which was serious in nature, whitish to colorless, and was not foul smelling or blood tinged. There was associated swelling of the foot, which subsided over the last 15 days. No history of fever, no history of swelling of lower limbs, varicose veins, no history of claudication, tingling sensations in the lower limbs.
Okay. So here again, the short history we won't really go in so much detail, because for the benefit I'm going step by step. It won't be really discussed in so much detail, but here to avoid making the mistakes in future, I'm going step by step. Okay. So there are some
Okay, sir.
favorite words for undergraduates, like you use some words more often. I mean, some people use some words like associated with is one of the favorite words of undergraduates. So everything you want to associate with something. That is one. Second one, some, something, or like. These are some words which is usually you know when you are telling, you repeat them very often. But this associated with is again some adjective I would advise not to use. So you have a wound here, you want to know that he has discharge or not. Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
you ask what is the discharge from the wound. He will tell what is the discharge. Why really you want to associate that discharge with the wound? You already know. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
means what I want to tell is, suppose if I ask what are the associations you know for the ulcer, that is a googly question. You are not expecting that question, is it not? So means there are some things like lymphoma associated symptoms are there. They are classical symptoms. A symptoms are there, B symptoms are there. So if I tell associated symptom of lymphoma, I understand that it is night sweats or fever or some pain. Okay, there are no classical things that are associated with something like ulcer. So don't unnecessarily use these words like associated with and all. He will associate with so many things. If you would have asked some chronic ulcer history, he will tell, when I went to my son's marriage, this happened. And according to thus, you have to write in patient's own words. You are not going to write that patient went to his son's marriage and it was associated with something.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it not? So though we are telling everybody to use those own words, patient's own words according to thus, you usually do not do that. You smartly edit some things and put it in more simpler language rather than medical language, but you are not really using patient's own language. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You also told he the pain was the thing which made him come to hospital, so you made it chief complaint. Usually I give example that, suppose I am going in a bus or two-wheeler or BMTC bus I am going, and I fell down, suppose, and I came to hospital, and Shashank is the doctor who is examining. He will ask, according to this, very good student, so he will ask, what is the thing that made you to come to hospital? Is it not? Suppose I am an uneducated Balakrishna patient. I will tell, I fell from the bus. So what is my chief complaint? You asked what made you to come to hospital. I told I fell from the bus. What is your chief complaint according to Das?
I would still write it as wound over so and so.
Yeah, is it not? So though we are following Das, we know what to edit and what to uh, grab from the history. Okay, though it's wise to follow Das blindly, it's really not so blind. Literally, you should not follow Das. Okay, that is a guide to take in that direction. Okay, so it has happened.
Yes.
I have given some of you some examples in BMC only. In the ninth term, when you are going for exams in previous batches, I have taken on ulcer case like this only, just to see how well you are prepared. And that particular patient had first discharge from the wound, and this student asked, what made you to bring to hospital? And he told, all these days pus was not coming, now pus is coming. So they were very strict students. They wrote pus discharge from the wound as a chief complaint, because the wound was there from 10 years. uh, they made it as a uh, current history and past history, but the main history dealt with pus. So pus, when it started, what was the color, what was the consistency, whether foul smelling, everything. So strictly speaking, if you see, it is actually correct. Means that has made him to been to hospital and they have taken history. It is strictly correct. But are you going to treat the pus or the ulcer? So that makes
Also,
the point to bring it to ulcer. Okay. So such things might happen because when you are going to exams, there will be a lot of logics which looks very nice, which creeps into your mind. That's why some things like that you try to avoid associated, all those things. Okay. And one more
yes, sir.
thing is whitish to colorless.
Sir, he said sometimes it's white discharge and sometimes it's just watery
Okay, you tell
without
water
any color.
discharge. There is nobody to crucify you. That see, it is history. So what is most of the times what is it? It is whitish or he tell watery. So you tell
Yes,
watery
sir.
discharge. That's fine.
Okay, sir.
Here you want to know discharge. What is the colors of discharge you are interested in here?
Sir, if there is any Pseudomonas infection, it can be greenish. If it is Staphylococcus infection, it can be yellowish.
Yeah, here
Streptococcus
you want
infection
to
will
at the
usually
history
cause
level you
reddish
want to
black.
know whether it is serous, that is usually healing ulcer or just uh, a fresh ulcer, or it is a colored discharge which might give you an
With any
idea that it is
infection.
infection, or it might be bloody
Yes, sir.
also, that it might be inflamed or spreading, or sometimes a fresh ulcer which is having some bleeding. Here at this point you
Yes, sir.
want to know that. So if it is colored, you want to know a brief idea that it is greenish, means it is pseudomonas. Usually it is yellowish, or sometimes even gray discharge might come, like there is some necrotic tissue in the ulcer, you might get. So that much of idea you want to get from this particular history. So whitish to colorless will never give you anything. Understand? So there is no,
Yes,
if
sir.
it is whitish also, you are not going to give anything. So whitish to colorless is totally means not necessary. Yeah, right. You
Okay.
are taken as serous. Already you mentioned which was serous. So here it is history. So you would have mentioned it as watery discharge. Serous discharge you
Yes,
won't
sir.
understand. Watery discharge. Watery discharge,
Okay, sir.
not foul smelling. That's fine. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So again you have told there are associated swelling of the foot. So again I tell you want to tell there is a swelling of foot. Fine. Till what? Means till it is knee joint or ankle joint. Fine.
Okay.
Or
Till the
swelling of
ankles.
only foot or it is leg.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you asked for history of swelling of the lower limbs and varicose veins. Why is that history you have taken?
Sir, even though the common position of a varicose ulcer is the near the medial malleolus or the lateral malleolus, I just wanted to rule it out completely.
Okay. So one
So
is
since there
you
was
want
no
to rule out
previous
the
history,
etiology. Another,
yes, sir.
you want to see, you want to have a broad idea that how the ulcer heals. So if he gives a history of varicose veins or previous history of varicose veins he got treated, this particular ulcer might take very long time to heal, or you
We,
might have to address the primary pathology and this will become a secondary pathology. So
yes,
that
sir.
you want to know. Yeah.
Sir, I have a doubt with the negative history.
Yeah.
Uh, like we know many more etiologies for ulcer, but should we rule all of them out by asking negative history? Like, should I ask, was there a history of TB, or
Yeah, yeah.
was there a history of
India, you must ask tuberculosis.
like, should I put it in the present history itself, or can I keep it in past history?
Yeah, you can keep it in past history, no problem.
Okay, sir.
No, here past history of tuberculosis. Tuberculosis you can have in past, but
Okay,
there
sir.
are some diseases which you want to keep it in present. No, no history of. As I told earlier, short case, no negative history is usually asked. Means you might have asked the patient in the examination, if there is any positive finding you will tell, otherwise you are
Okay,
not
sir.
going to tell. In
Yes, sir.
between patient, the examiner might ask you that have you taken history of tuberculosis, actinomycosis, everything. You should be in a position to tell yes I have taken, and it is there is no history. You cannot tell,
Okay.
sir, this is a short case, sir, I have not taken. That is not an answer expected in the exam. Okay.
Yes.
To tell you the fact, if it is a DNB exam, uh, there will be 5 cases given to you, and all 5 cases will be given equal importance. It is the examiner who decides which he will discuss as a long case and which he will discuss as short case. Okay, so that's why here in MBBS it is little different. Uh, but you need to take history, not really necessary to write or tell the examiner if it is not there. But
Yes.
regarding ulcer, you want to ask about tuberculosis, actinomycosis, all those things, syphilis, everything that will come in the present history.
Okay.
Yeah, but this particular
Past history.
diabetes is a present history. It is ongoing. So you see, DAS has been printed very long time back, and somehow it is continuing. So this habit of putting diabetes and hypertension, just to avoid that putting in past history, what I would like
Yes,
to
sir.
tell is these are all like they are like gods. Any disease, they are either the risk factor or sometimes causative factor also. So you always keep that whether it is positive or negative, at least at the end of the present history. You have
Okay, sir.
told everything positive history, you have told no history of, no history of, no history of, everything you have told, and later you tell comorbid conditions like diabetes, tuberculosis, hypertension, and epilepsy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those things, epilepsy also comes into present history because it has its own implications like anesthetic implication, or you might have to select some drug for the treatment of this condition, and it might interact. So that's why usually it is taken. So the diabetes and all these things you put in present history. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Patient is a known case of diabetes mellitus from past 15 years and is being treated with metformin 500 mg twice daily. He is a hypertensive from the past 12 years and is being treated with losartan 25 mg once daily. He is compliant with his medications. No
Yeah.
history of tuberculosis. No
So
history
here
of leg
also
ulcers in the past.
diabetes and hypertension. Avoid telling known case of all those things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Everybody is known case only. He is a diabetic
Yes.
or non-diabetic. Or
Okay, sir.
one more thing is if he is recently diagnosed diabetic, like he has come for this and immediately he has got to know that he has got diabetes.
Okay,
So
sir.
that is recently. Whether he is on regular follow-up and medications or not. Sometimes they
Okay.
will be taking native medicines like some Ayurvedic or some homeopathic or sometimes Baba Ramdev, Patanjali. There are a lot of people who follow. So you have to tell whether he is on oral hypoglycemics or insulin.
Okay, sir.
Okay, one, how many years, if he is having diabetes, how many years you have told, and he is on regular medications or irregular follow up and medications.
Okay.
Means sometimes they would have gone to a doctor 5 years ago and they will be taking the same medication.
Yes, sir.
So the pancreas will be dying and usually the resistance will increase. So whether you are controlled or not controlled, usually 5 years is very long term for any follow up. So such things you have to tell. And is on oral tablets or injections. These things you need to tell. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Sometimes if he is both hypertensive and diabetic, you will also be interested in knowing whether he is on any antiplatelet drugs. Most of the times, if both are there, he will be there on either aspirin, cosprin, whatever. Okay, so that is wise to know because eventually you will tell something related to surgery later, and that time they will ask, have you taken history of aspirin? Because immediately you want to do, will you stop all this? So means if you don't take, nothing wrong. If that comes up in the treatment aspect and they will tell you that you are not taken or you have taken and missed, it will come up here. But that's not going to change your fate. But it's wise to take care, and if it is there, if you tell, that will make you a better presenter. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And good that
No
you have
history of
mentioned no history of drug allergies. Drug allergy history is very important.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. You have
Personal
taken history
history.
of previous surgeries. What history of surgeries you are interested in?
Sir, like any lower limb surgeries, if he has undergone, sir, like any arterial surgeries or venous surgeries. Like the healing process will be affected based on that.
Okay. See, why I ask this question is, um, this is all dependent on what type of ulcer you are dealing with. So currently you are in history. So if I ask such question, the examiner wants to know whether you are taken the history properly or not, number one. Number two, he wants to know what is your strong point, what is your weak point. Okay. See, now you are somehow I know that you read more about healing ulcer and its characteristics. So okay. So what I suppose I want to really check you and make you in a tight spot. I will ask, is um, history of lumbar sympathectomy you are interested or not? The answer will be definitely yes. You will tell yes, I want. Is it not? Because it's a toe ulcer. Definitely, you would like to know.
Okay.
Previously, if he has got lumbar sympathectomy, you know that he has got a risk of developing toe ulcers. Is it not? So
Yes, sir.
I can go on arterial insufficiency and such disorder. You are not really prepared. Okay. So when the question is asked in the history level, it is wise to tell broadly. One, you would like to know any surgery has been done for some pathology which can uh, have both surgery related issue and the ulcer in common, or for the vascular system itself like varicose vein surgery also you are interested in, any arterial surgery also you are interested in. Okay. Or anything related to some other pathology like diabetes, he has undergone something, or anything, any surgery he has undergone. So that is one directly related. Another, suppose he has undergone thyroid surgery, you are interested or not interested? Directly you are not interested, but for anesthesia purpose or something else, you are still interested. So I tell usually medicine you can relate anything to anything. Okay, anything to anything. Like just now I told he has got a thyroid surgery, suppose, and I will tell after thyroid surgery he went to ICU. He has got a DVT because he did not walk. So ulcer is already related.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like that you can relate anything to anything. So usually at history level, usually the examiner will ask you two questions in history, whether you have asked a right question and you got right inferences from that question. Two or three questions in the general physical examination, local examination. By that time you would have already come into core local examination, all those things. So and there you will go. Okay. Yeah.
Personal history. The patient consumes a vegetarian diet, has a good appetite, sound sleep, regular bowel and bladder movements, no history of smoking or alcohol consumption, and any other drug usage.
Yeah. So here sound sleep is one thing which probably you should avoid. You tell undisturbed. You want to tell undisturbed sleep. You are
Okay,
really not interested in snoring. Are you interested in snoring?
no, sir.
No, no. So sound sleep, here already it is history only, but unnecessary means he is having adequate sleep. Or here
Okay,
you want to know whether from this problem he is having difficulty in sleeping,
disturbed sleep.
or
Yes,
is
sir.
the pathology making him get up in between. All those things you are interested in. So undisturbed or adequate sleep should be fine. Adequate sleep
Okay, sir.
should be a good terminology you use. Okay. So no
Okay,
habits
sir.
here. What no habits? Yes.
Family history. No history of diabetes, mellitus, and hypertension in family members. No history of non-healing leg ulcers in family members.
So if the so this particular thing, family history, you will ask like a ritual. Usually everybody will ask, ಮನೇಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಈ ತರ ಆಯ್ತಾ? That is probably what question means I don't know when you ask what you ask. Usually this is the question. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ತರ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಇತ್ತ? So usually they will tell no. Usually. Suppose he told, yes, my father and mother both had same ulcers. What was your inference?
Um, could still be like diabetes runs in the family, hypertension
You
runs in the
already
family.
told no history of diabetes in family.
Um, the living conditions and maybe barefoot walking is practiced in the family.
Mm, okay.
Then the quality of tissues is genetic again, so he's predisposed to something.
No. Here, family history is not really so significant, actually. But you are really interested in family history in some hereditary disorders, familial disorders, is it not?
So,
So here
yes,
it is not so important. Means,
yes,
yeah, pediatrics, every condition is important because it is family related. Here, history of ulcer in somebody and passing on to another family member is not really thing. Usually malignancies, yes. Like which malignancy are you thinking of? Suppose malignancy and ulcer, you are only having two things like basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell
yes,
carcinoma. And if they get such things, you will not have a history of non-healing ulcers in family, is it not? So you want to rule out
yes,
malignancy, so you ask history of malignancy. Okay, so in pediatrics you will ask some syndromes, is it not? Any syndrome, not only suppose one child has Down syndrome, you will not ask father also had Down syndrome or not. It's not like that. Any syndrome is related, is it not? So here any genetic related issue you want to know, that's all. It's not only
yes.
non-healing ulcer. Okay, so
So can I
again,
totally avoid that sentence and only
yeah, yeah,
mention
better.
about diabetes and
No, you can tell no history of similar complaints in family. As an undergraduate, nobody is going to crucify you. You are not going to fail if you tell. But if you want to tell, and you tell there is no history of malignancy or carcinoma related deaths in the family, that would make a better family history, and you can always relate that to non-healing ulcer. I wanted to rule out any genetically transmitted malignancies and related to ulcer. Okay, so such thing
okay,
you can always relate, but this thing you cannot relate back. That's what I want to tell. Okay,
yes.
so summary. Okay, fine. You have a yeah. Summarize. You want to summarize?
A 50-year-old gentleman belonging to the lower middle class who is a known diabetic from 15 years and hypertensive from 12 years presents with complaints of wounds over sole of the foot and pain from 15 days after a trauma while walking. The wound is associated with scanty serous discharge and it has grown over time. No significant family or personal history, no similar complaints in the past.
So summary, there is no need for negative history unless it is very important. Okay, otherwise no
Yes.
problem. Yeah, general physical exam.
General physical examination. A 50-year-old male patient who is moderately built and nourished is alert, conscious, cooperative, well oriented to time, place, and person, and was examined in the supine position.
So
Sir,
here
here,
again, usually general physical examination is asked not asked in the short cases, but general physical examination, it's not wise to tell a 50-year-old male. From general physical examination, it is you, Shashank, who is telling. You are telling that man is 50 years. You understand what I am telling? You cannot tell his age.
okay.
For age determination, you would have read in forensic medicine how many parameters are there, and at last you will guess his age. That's all, is it not?
Yes,
You will see so many factors, ossification center, that, this, and all. Then you will guess the age. So here, what is the importance? You will tell what age category he belongs to. 50 years
middle
is
aged,
middle age.
elderly,
So here you will tell a middle-aged male patient
male.
who is
Okay.
moderately built and nourished. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
what are the age groups you will tell?
Uh, Like it can be an infant, a child, an adult, a middle-aged male, or an elderly.
Adolescent you left already.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
adult, a
adolescent.
young male.
Ah. No, no, no. There is nothing called young male. That is
Okay.
youth, elder. That is general.
Okay.
See, you told already child, all that infant, toddler, everything that age group you know. After that, till 18 is adolescent. It's not teenage. It
Yes,
is
sir.
adolescent. After 19, it is adult. After 19, it is adult. Okay. In adult category, you have young adult, middle-aged adult, and elderly.
Elder.
Elderly. Okay.
Yes.
So 18 to 25 is young adult. 25 to 40 in some books, 50 in some books, middle-aged adult, and after that is elderly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So
Yes,
that's
sir.
how we will tell. Yeah.
Sir,
And
should we mention exposure
some
here?
use more than 60 years as geriatric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir,
You are asking
should we
something?
mention about any exposure or anything here? Like I've exposed from knee to the ankle or knee to the toes.
Yeah.
Like
No,
he'll
general
already
physical
not be
examination,
wearing
no.
anything. Okay.
For general physical examination, no.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Um,
So
the
this is
patient has
all
pallor.
yeah.
Mm,
So here you have
no
noticed
interest cyanosis.
anemia. Other than that, there is nothing. Is it not?
Nothing.
Okay.
His vitals again, pulse is 74 beats per minute, regular rhythm, good volume, non-palpable vessel wall in the right
Yeah,
radial
everything
artery,
is fine.
blood pressure, everything is normal.
Everything looks fine, no?
Yes, sir.
I'm jumping some things because to save time. Yeah.
Local examination. Coming to the inspection, the site left third toe on the plantar aspect and some part of the adjacent sole.
So I'll correct now only. So this
Okay.
particular way is, I can tell it is wrong to tell such things. Local examination, immediately you have to tell what part you examined. Okay, you never
Okay.
mentioned what part you examined here. And you are telling site. Site means what? Means what is there in that site? So this type of examination makes the examiner think that you have no fluency in examination. So you try to make some mnemonic like some 3 years NM something like that, some mnemonic you made and fill in the blanks. Or you saw Das book and you wrote everything and filled up there. That's how it looks. Okay. So here when local examination is told, you should tell what part you examine. Local exam, what is local? So what part will you tell here?
Left foot,
No,
left lower limb.
lower limbs.
Okay. Both bilateral lower limb.
Yeah, you will always tell this foot is swollen and that foot is not swollen. All those things you will tell, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you always have to tell it is lower limbs. Okay, lower limbs. Because you will also see, suppose some amputated limb is there in the other toe, amputated toe in other limb. Will you tell it or not? It is
Yes,
important.
sir.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you would have mentioned also later that other limb is normal, but here you should tell it is lower limbs. When there are two, you have to take both for symmetry, all those things you will see.
Okay, sir.
So lower limbs is one thing. So local examination, colon, lower limbs. Then only you will tell that I exposed from here to here, all those things. So one more thing you have to tell is, after obtaining consent and in this position I examined after exposing from here to here. This thing should come when you are starting the examination. So then you have to tell that there is an ulcer, and where is the ulcer, then you will start about it is on the right toe of left limb, all those things. Okay. Yeah. So start, there is an ulcer.
There is a single irregular ulcer on the left third toe on the plantar aspect, and the adjacent sole is also involved. The size of the ulcer is approximately 10 centimeters in length and 2 centimeters wide at the toe and 5 centimeter wide at the sole. The edge of the ulcer is a sloping edge, and the floor is covered with pinkish red granulation tissue and very minimal slough. There is a serous discharge, which is whitish and non-foul smelling. The surrounding skin is slightly red and edematous.
Okay. So here, what are the shapes of ulcers? What is the importance of shape?
Sir, usually the venous ulcers are vertically oval. Then the tuberculous ulcers are initially round, but then when they coalesce, they can have a crescentic margin.
Yeah,
Uh, Syphilitic ulcers form serpiginous ulcers.
yeah.
Um,
You keep
then
on
it
telling.
can just be a irregular ulcer,
Yeah,
like no defined shape.
yeah.
I don't know of any other shapes.
No, I was writing something here. Yeah. How do you comment these two ulcers? You are all seeing the ulcers? Means I wrote something on the, yeah. So what is the shape of this ulcer? What is the shape of this ulcer? Suppose we will
The
call it
first one
A.
is mostly a
This
circular
is B.
ulcer.
How do you comment on this ulcer?
A is more circular, B is irregular.
Yeah, means I wanted to draw the attention to the A. Suppose you see the A ulcer. The ulcer, though it is more of circular, the edges I have made it more irregular.
Yes, sir.
Can you make out? See, in
Yes, sir.
B, it is the shape is irregular, but the edges are regular.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Why it is written here? This is an irregular ulcer. B is a irregular ulcer. A is a regular ulcer with irregular margins.
Margins.
Yeah. So what is the importance? If I tell an ulcer with a irregular margin and an irregular ulcer, which one will draw your attention more?
An irregular margin of the
Yeah.
ulcer.
An irregular margin ulcer is more towards malignancy, malignant ulcer. Okay. A
Yes,
irregular
sir.
ulcer might be of different means. It might be because of our treatment or debridement or whatever. It depends on where it is. Everything. There are so many features for that. If it is only ulcer, if it is proliferative or ulceroproliferative, that is different. Okay. So here it is to draw attention of margins because you have not mentioned about margin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You told there is a edge is sloping. Okay. So what is edge?
The part of the ulcer that connects the floor to the margin of the ulcer.
Yeah. So there should be margin. The comment on the margin.
Yes, sir.
So how do you comment on the margin?
Whether it is regular or irregular, then whether it is inflamed or not.
Hmm?
Whether there is any inflammation of the margin and the surrounding.
Yeah. Okay. Usually inflammation is a thing which is told surrounding. No. This is inspection.
Yes, sir.
See, more points have to be dealt in inspection only because ulcer is mainly inspectory. In all the findings are more of inspectory in nature. Palpation only few things means only tenderness and surrounding edema, all those induration. Other than that, majority everything is discussed in inspection only. So what else you will see in margin? Others can also
The
tell.
color of the
Yeah, Color. What is the importance of color?
Like
What
white
colors
is
you expect in
fibrotic.
margins?
White will be fibrotic.
Yeah,
If it is bluish, it is synthesis of new tissue.
yeah. Blue or purple is telling it is healing.
Newly generating tissue. Healing.
Healing.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. White is fibrotic. That means chronic. Is
Yes.
one
Yes.
of the non-healing ulcers. Yeah. Why this is important? I'll tell you when we come to diagnosis. This is the most of all the features. This is the most important feature which will make your diagnosis. I'll tell you when you come to diagnosis. Keep it in mind.
Okay. Sir.
I'll tell you. Okay. But that particular comment you have missed. Margin is the
Yes.
most
Yes.
thing, important thing. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, because probably Das has given you see in palpation or something like that. I think you read Das or you are reading something else.
No, sir. I have read that. I just forgot to mention it.
Okay, fine. So at this point, you will all be ready by this time that what are the edges, examples, all those things. So uh, I will not go in detail that the edges will be sloping in healing and undermined
Healing.
in
Tuberculosis ulcer.
tuberculosis, punched out,
Trophic ulcers.
trophic ulcers or
Pressures.
arterial ulcers.
Yes.
What trophic ulcer, trophic ulcer or tropical ulcer?
Trophic ulcer.
What is the difference between these two?
Tropical ulcer is like insect bite or anything.
Okay, trophic ulcer.
Trophic ulcer is more of the neuropathy, the
Yeah,
neurotrophic ulcer, end
yeah.
arthritis,
More of
pressure,
neural
like continuous
pathology is
pressure.
trophic ulcer. Tropical countries and its related infections, all those tropical ulcer. Yeah. So then you beaded edges, then everted edges. So all these are there. Okay. What are the types of floor you can notice?
Sir, there can be a pinkish red granulation tissue in a healing ulcer.
Yeah.
In a spreading ulcer, there will be no granulation tissue. It will be more pale.
No.
Uh, then in a non-healing ulcer, there will be sorry. In a spreading ulcer, there will be a lot of slough also.
Yeah.
But in a
Slough
chronic
is
ulcer, it
different.
will be minimal slough and more pale fluid.
Correct. Okay. Discharge already we discussed already. Serous again whitish and all no need. So any color and blood. So surrounding skin you will tell it is slightly red and edematous ureter. Okay, fine. Yeah. Mm,
Palpation.
yeah.
There is no tenderness around the ulcer. There is no local rise of temperature. The size is 8 centimeters in length and 2 centimeter wide at the toe and 6 centimeter wide at the sole and 5 in depth. It's an irregular ulcer and the margin is regular. The floor bleeds on touch. There is no induration of the base. It's not fixed. The extent is from the tip of the third toe till 6 centimeters onto the sole.
How did you check for fixity of the ulcer?
Sir, by using the thumb and the index finger at the edges of the ulcer on the sole, I tried to move it. It was mobile. It was not like very hard and fixed to the base.
Okay. So the base is told as no induration. How did you comment that no induration of base?
Sir, it wasn't hard to touch. So I
So
took
here
it as
it
no
is
injury.
not really induration you are looking for. And base, what forms the base of the ulcer? That is what you want to know. Whether it
Yes,
is
sir.
on the tendons or it is
Or
on
the
the
bone.
bone or in the joint. That's what you need to know. In so induration or not induration of the base, whether it is there or not, it really does not add up to any diagnosis or treatment. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So here, if it is bone, you expect the wound to heal little later. it will become more chronic, or
Yes,
it
sir.
might even progress and become osteomyelitis
Osteomyelitis
or
can
something
take.
like that. And some sinus, all those formations are more common if the base is bone.
Base is bone. Yes, sir.
And tendon, again, the healing is little difficult because there will be minimal movements all the time.
Mobility. Yes.
Okay, so those things, and the crevices are more if the base of the ulcer is tendons. Unless the
Okay.
granulation tissue forms little speedier, fast, the chances of infection and spreading along the tendons and between the tendons is more common. So those are
Yes.
the things you need to see. So not fixed. Okay, fine. That's what not fixed is the thing which you told. You tried to move the ulcer. So though it is told theoretically, it is practically a little difficult to comment on because you cannot really hold the ulcer and move. Especially if it is smaller, you can still try, but they all get important when you are dealing with the basal cell carcinoma or squamous cell carcinoma. There you can
Squamous cell.
actually hold the ulcer because they are more firmer compared to these ulcers, and surrounding tissue is usually not so inflamed as it is here. So there you want to know whether the bone is involved or not, or the underlying tissue is really fixed to this ulcer or not. So there it comes. But theoretically you have to do, so you will tell. So it's not a thing. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Sir, while writing the extent, usually they say you have to take it from a bony prominence.
Yes.
But here, like from where can I take it?
Third
I
from the
have just
ankle.
written it as 6 centimeters onto the sole, but here.
Sole is not a correct thing. Um,
Okay.
so from heel you can take if it
Okay.
is extending the plantar aspect. Okay. Or the lateral margin, medial margin. Those things you can take.
Okay.
Or from the heel.
Okay.
Above in the dorsum you will take either medial malleolus or joint line, ankle joint.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it is inspection. Yeah.
Inspection and palpation of the bilateral lower limbs was normal, excepting for the ulcer on the left foot. Peripheral pulses, left dorsalis pedis and posterior tibial were not palpable. Sensations, touch and pain were intact. Vibration is lost. Sir, I didn't test for the sensations. I took that from PG notes. Movements at ankle joint was normal.
So did you check peripheral pulses in both limbs or one limb?
Sir, in the on the right side it was palpable, dorsalis pedis and posterior tibial. On the left side, the dorsalis pedis was totally not felt. Posterior tibial was very feeble. I have written it as not palpable. Rather, I should have written it as feeble pulse.
Hmm. Now why I am asking this is, majority of you when you come to this
Yes,
point, you expect that it is not palpable. Usually the ulcer will be there and there will be some cellulitis. Okay, so it will be usually palpable. Sometimes actually it will be more palpable than the other side because the new vascularization, all those things will make it more bounding. So when you want to really write it is not there, you have to be sure and make it really sure that it is not there. Means here
Yes, sir. It was not felt.
there is no patient, so I cannot ask you to go and check all those things. Usually at this point, examiner will tell you, you go and check. When the examiner tells you go and check, you very well know that that finding, particular finding is wrong. What you have told is wrong. So even at that time in that nervousness, when you go and check, usually it will not be palpable. Either you will be putting in wrong place or you are putting more pressure or less pressure, something will happen. That will unnecessarily make the nervousness more, anxiety more, and it will go. Okay. So when you are writing it is not palpable, because why it is important, if you write it is not palpable,
Healing of
it
ulcer.
comes in all the discussion of healing and planning of surgery, everything. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that is yeah, okay. Movement at the ankle joint. Yes. So what you have
Systemic
not taken here? Anybody can guess what he has left?
lymph node examination.
Yes.
there was no lymphadenopathy in the linear group, the vertical group of lymph nodes in the leg. I forgot to mention it.
Yeah, you have to write what is significant lymphadenopathy.
Sir, acute infections can cause lymphadenopathy, and
No,
that
what is
again.
significant lymphadenopathy?
Oh, okay. Mo More than 1.5 centimeters if it's the inguinal group.
Okay, more than 1 centimeter anywhere else in the body, more than 2 centimeter in the
Okay.
inguinal groups.
So,
If it is enlarged, it is significant. When you call it significant, what is the importance? If it is more than 2 centimeters, your thinking should be more in terms of malignancy rather than benign causes. It is significant in terms of malignancy, not in the infections. Infections, there will be multiple lymph node enlargement and tender lymph nodes. Malignancy usually will be non-tender and they will not be more oval. Means benign conditions, lymphadenopathy will be more oval in nature. The malignant lymphadenopathy will be more globular, the lymph nodes.
okay.
Then it is more hard, all those things you know. Okay, yeah. For systemic examination,
Sir,
anything is there?
sir, in this particular, like any leg ulcer, the regional lymph nodes will be the vertical group itself. No, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, always I told you, know, it follows the veins. What is the primary vein of the leg? The femoral vein. So along the vein, lymph nodes will be there.
Okay.
So summary and all is okay. What is the provisional diagnosis?
Ulcer over plantar aspect of third toe and sole, clinically a healing ulcer, pathologically a non-specific diabetic ulcer.
Okay. What is striking mistake you have done in this here?
I should have
All others
mentioned
are
only
awake or
non-specific ulcer.
they left? They kept the phone and left. Okay. So some people have started chatting that you have not put which side of the body is this ulcer you are
Okay.
speaking.
Yes, sir.
Is it not? It's very gross.
Yes, yes.
Usually what happens is this means if you can forget now with a calm mind and adequate time for preparation, you have a very high tendency to forget in exams.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is the understanding you should. What is the thing is, every time you have to make sure that you have written properly.
Yes.
So because already you are ninth term now. No, from June you are ninth term. So
Yes, sir.
it is this exam going now, exam going term. So whatever you do, it's for exams. So each time you take a case or when you read a case, you have to see what and all you have left in the previous presentation and see to it that that thing never repeats. Because what I am telling is, these things would have been told from third term itself. Whether you attended the postings or not, this would have started from third term. And you have
Yes, sir.
already come to ninth term and you have made a mistake in ninth term means that is usually that happens. Consciously you will be more confident in making the same mistake again. That is the human tendency. So you have to voluntarily make some efforts and correct. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This also happens in swelling. This is at least usually ulcer they will tell over this part of the body and all. Swelling, what happens? They are more overconfident because suppose there is a swelling and you have a punctum, you already know the diagnosis. You wanted a punctum and it is there. And you tell what is your
Yes.
case? Sebaceous cyst, sir. That's all. Over. And usually that sebaceous cyst will be over the back, and you usually don't mention lipoma. You tell yes, sir, lipoma, sir. The ganglion, yes, most of you will tell ganglion over the right wrist or dorsum of the left wrist, something or all. Lipoma, sebaceous cyst, sometimes even neurofibroma is usually the tendency is to forget on telling which part of the body or what is all those things. Okay, plane of the swelling means subcutaneous lipoma, intramuscular. All those things usually missed. Okay, so here ulcer over the
Left toe and
yeah.
sole.
So whenever you have to write, either it is toe or near the sole, you have to write on the left side. Okay. Also the plantar aspect of the toe and sole. Okay. Clinically healing ulcer and pathologically what you written non-specific ulcer. Okay. What are the types of the ulcer?
Sir, we can divide it into specific or non-specific ulcers.
No, no, no. See, when I ask what are the types of ulcer, by default, if I do not tell anything, it is what are the clinical types of ulcer because it
Clinical
is a
type.
clinical examination.
Okay.
So that is more important rather than pathological classification. So what are the types
It
of
can be a
ulcer?
spreading ulcer, callus ulcer, or a healing ulcer.
Yeah. So that's what I was telling earlier. The margin is the only thing here will help you in making whether it is healing ulcer. Okay. See, healing ulcer, sloping edge is something which is always fixed in the mind. So imagine a classical venous ulcer. No venous ulcer will have punched out edge or everted edge. Always it is healing ulcer.
Sloping.
It will be sloping edge. Is it not? Classical venous ulcer, varicose ulcer, and usually you live for 1 year or 2 years, it won't heal. Is it not? So where do you put
Yes.
it as? It is always healing ulcer. When do you call it? What is the suppose this was having a varicose veins, what you would have called it as?
Chronic ulcer.
Is it not?
Um,
You will tell chronic non-healing ulcer.
Chronic non-healing ulcer.
Yes, chronic non-healing ulcer. When you tell chronic only, it becomes non-healing. There is no
Yes.
signs of healing. But if you imagine a venous ulcer, all the classical signs of healing will be there. Like you have a red granulation tissue, not even pink, red granulation tissue, and it is sloping edge. No sign. Usually venous ulcers usually will not get infected very easily. They are though they are in the distal part of the leg, they are pretty good. Usually they are red looking, even bleeds on touch immediately, and no surrounding edema, mild edema will be there. Everything will be looking good, but they will not heal. Okay, so such things, margin will come into picture. Their margins would have become fibrotic. That will tell you whether it is a callus ulcer. Callus means lazy. It will not
Yes.
heal. So that fibrotic tissue will not allow the edges to proliferate. You know by this time that the importance of edge is that is where the tissues are proliferating at the maximum.
Maximum proliferation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why it is always sloping? Why not ulta like undermined in healing ulcer?
Sir, because the basal epithelium will be migrating towards the center, and that is what is
Why?
proliferating.
That's what I am asking. Why?
Because there is migration towards the center. The cells are
Why towards
migrating
the
towards
center
the
only? I am asking.
because maximum necrosis is at the center.
No. Anybody else? Suppose there is an ulcer. Suppose there is an ulcer and he is right in telling that it is, suppose this is an ulcer, the direction of growth of the epithelium is from edge, no, here to here, is it not?
Yes.
Why this direction only I am asking? Heal by opposition, no.
Chemotactic factors are secreted in the center because of
Oh, no, no, no. I
neovascularization.
am not so vidwan pa. See, I will ask one more, means this is not related to ulcer. which part of the diaphragm is higher in the body, normal human being? There
The
are two
dome of the
semi-diaphragms. Which
oh,
diaphragm is higher compared to other? Which side, left or right?
the right diaphragm is higher.
Yes, everybody is telling right. Only one fellow is telling right. Everybody is agreeing with Shashank. Okay, imagine your own diaphragm. Your diaphragm, suppose if you take an X-ray, or you would have seen a lot of X-rays by now. So which diaphragm is higher, right or left?
The right diaphragm is higher.
Yeah, so everybody is confident it is right. Yes, some videos they are all nodding their head, some are telling it is right. So right diaphragm is higher, correct. Even Chaurasia and Henry Gray, everybody tells same. Why it is higher?
Because the liver is there, and because of that it is pushed up
Correct.
on the right side.
Okay. So why I ask this particular question? Suppose there is a diaphragm. Imagine this is diaphragm, and there is liver. Under the liver, what is there? Apart, don't tell gallbladder. There is nothing to support the liver from below. Is there anything to
Yes.
support? There is nothing. So suppose if diaphragm is related to liver by its ligament and all, and it is hanging, what should happen to that diaphragm?
It should have been pulled down.
Yeah, is it not? So suppose I would have asked the same question, which diaphragm is lower? Obviously you would have told left. Then I would have asked why it is lower. What will be your answer? Okay, we will not go in
There is
detail. It is because of heart. The left side, it has to accommodate the heart, so that diaphragm is lower. Why I ask this question is, if I ask the same question in a different way, your mind goes in thinking of that. I asked about right side, you are thinking of liver. If I would have asked on the left side, still a lot of people would have gone and told that liver is pushing, but at least not the same percentage. Half of you would have thought of, oh, why left is lower, probably heart. It is not really smart, but the mind thinks like that. So here again, coming back to ulcer, I am asking you why that direction only. You are thinking of center.
there is live tissue in the periphery. That
Huh?
is what is proliferating.
Yeah, is it not? So here you are thinking of center, but my expectation is in the edge margin. What is there in margin? What is margin?
Uh,
It is the
the delineating
epithelium,
line between
the
normal
ending
and
of the
abnormal.
epithelium and the starting of the ulcer, is it not? That is
Yes,
where the
yes.
proliferation is at the max. So here, suppose we give proliferation as 100, it comes to 75 here, then it comes to 50 here, and it becomes 25 here. Obviously, this will be lower, this will be higher. Is it not? That's why the
Yes.
tissue is more here, and this tissue is less, so it becomes sloping edge. So don't think of center and come on. Okay, that's why I asked that question. Okay, so that is why you get healing, the sloping edge. So why undermined edge?
Sir, the tubercular bacilli are more like they they spread via the lymphatics, and that is present in the subcutaneous plane. And
No, simple word. Spread kidney see. You went to spread already. Spreading is through lymphatic, that is there. So skin also has lymphatics. Muscle also has
they
lymphatics.
are more in the subcutaneous tissue, and that is what is destroyed first. So,
Yeah.
so there is
So
overhanging of
tuberculous,
the.
the pathology in tuberculous ulcers are, it has more destruction of subcutaneous tissue. The rate of destruction of subcutaneous tissue is more rapid when compared to skin. So that's why that gets destructed very early, and the part of the skin heal. It hangs, and usually the vascularity to that part of skin is from the subcutaneous tissue only, and if it is lost, the color and the vitality of the skin is also lost, and it will become unhealthy. So that is there. Then arterial ulcers, it is punched out because it comes from below
And
and it goes and it just get punched out, even though the neuropathic ulcers are also punched out. Why malignant ulcers are either beaded or everted?
high proliferation of cells.
So again, same answer. The proliferation is at the margin of the ulcer.
Margin.
So when that margin is already proliferating more when compared to that, it overflows and it flows towards the normal tissue also. And the proliferation is not towards the already destroyed tissue, it is towards the normal tissue. It invades. So all those things are there. So a non-specific diabetic ulcer. So again, one more common mistake which is done is diabetic ulcer. So when do you call a foot as diabetic foot?
When
You
the
would have heard
patient has
diabetic
diabetes
foot, no?
and
Very
there is,
commonly.
yes, sir.
When you go to a ward and ask some PG to give a case, there is diabetic foot, you go and take. Minority is also full of diabetic foots. So when do you call a foot as diabetic foot?
When there's peripheral neuropathy and the vessels are also involved, that's when we will say
Physically,
it's a diabetic.
physically. Vessel involvement of vessel and all, how can you make out?
Like
See, you would
feeble
have read in medicine that there is
neuropathy.
some gloves
When there
and
is peripheral
socks, those
neuropathy.
things, huh?
When
Sensations.
there is peripheral neuropathy.
Yeah, neuropathy is there. So, suppose a medical ward man is there and he is diabetic. So, his foot is a diabetic foot. He will have neuropathy definitely. Will you call that foot as diabetic foot?
Yes,
Really? Now I asked a question, so you are telling yes. But will you really call the diabetic foot of that fellow? You will not call. Okay. So why I ask
okay.
this terminology as diabetic foot or a diabetic ulcer is used very loosely and very widely, and it is not the proper terminology to be used. Okay. For a foot to be called as diabetic foot, he should have changes not only in sensations like neuropathy, what you told, you will also have some myopathy, microangiopathy, arthropathy. Okay, see, you would have read about arthropathy, Charcot's joint deformities will be there. So there will be deformity, there will be loss of sensation, there will be microangiopathy leading to either ulcer or non-healing nature of some other ulcer, whatever. All these put together, if it is there, all the changes are there, then you call it as diabetic foot. And that particular ulcer as diabetic foot ulcer, means ulcer in a diabetic foot. Okay, so all pathies will be
Yes,
there, neuropathy, angiopathy, all pathies will be there. Okay, so you are already telling it is pathologically a non-specific ulcer. When you have a ulcer and you can specify the pathology, like tuberculous ulcer, that ulcer is due to tuberculosis. Okay, when the etiology itself is shown in a diagnosis by that ulcer, then you can call it as specific ulcer. So if it is a non-specific ulcer, you cannot point out an etiology. That is what the classification itself tells. Okay, you cannot make out an ulcer as a traumatic ulcer. So it is a etiology
non-specific.
is by history, but by your examination you cannot make out that it is a traumatic ulcer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that is non-specific ulcer. So here you already given a history that he has got trauma, which itself is a non-specific. Again here you made a diagnosis of diabetic ulcer, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Suppose usually in the examination if somebody gives a diagnosis as diabetic ulcer, I always give two options for them. I will make two statements. I will do now. You have to tell me which is correct. Okay. Statement A: diabetes causes ulcer. Statement B: diabetes causes delay in wound healing. Which is correct?
Delay in wound healing is definitely right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Is it not? So
Yes.
that is why you cannot exactly tell diabetes will cause ulcer. There is nothing like that. Diabetes will cause something else will cause something else, and something else when added to something else will cause ulcer. Okay, it might be ischemic ulcer, or it might be neuropathic ulcer, or a traumatic ulcer which spread and become bigger. That's why
Yes.
you cannot tell diabetes caused the ulcer. There are thousands of people in their lifetime they will never get ulcer. They are diabetics. Is it not? So diabetes causes delay in wound healing because of its pathology, because of all pathies, neuropathy, angiopathy, renal pathology, everything. Okay, so that is why diabetic ulcer is not a terminology to be used. So here
Yes.
it is a non-specific ulcer. It is a clinically it is a healing ulcer, and by etiology you don't know. 15 days actually you can call it as a traumatic ulcer also, because 15 days you, it can heal, but here it is not healing but it is progressed. So you can leave it as traumatic ulcer, you can need not tell, but it is a non-specific ulcer. Okay, it has started with
Okay.
trauma but it is not healing, and you don't know what specifically is caused all this, and then you can guess that because of diabetes probably it is not healing.
Okay.
When do you call as an ulcer as a non-healing ulcer or a chronic ulcer?
When there is very pale granulation tissue and the vascularity is not there, uh, then the edge is not sloping. There is minimal slough or like slough is present.
See, all those things are there, but to call an ulcer as a chronic non-healing ulcer, arbitrarily there should be a gap of 6 weeks. One, two, there are no signs of healing in spite of giving treatment. Okay, see, imagine again classical venous ulcer. All the thing what you are telling, sloping edge, all those, everything will be there, but you call it as non-healing ulcer because
Non-healing.
though it is having all signs of healing, it is not healing more than 6 weeks. Okay, arbitrarily it is 6 weeks. More than 6 weeks, if it does not show signs towards healing, you call it as chronic non-healing ulcer.
Non-healing.
Okay, some books even tell 2 months, it's a matter of 2 weeks, but arbitrarily 6 weeks is kept as time. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so here you have to mention what is the size, what is the margin, which you have not mentioned, and in the diagnosis you should mention site, which
Yes,
site
sir.
of the
Yes.
so here it is over the toe and sole. Is it the web space or over the toe?
Not the web space, sir. It's the toe and the sole.
Okay. So investigations are asked, and um, you have written everything. Okay. Discharge for bacteriological examination is not a good terminology to be used. What will you tell?
Pus for culture and sensitivity.
Okay, that is a better terminology. Then
Uh,
there is no pus in
sta-
this fellow, is it not? You told there is no pus.
Scanty discharge was there. That's all.
So how do you tell? What investigation will you tell? After 6 months,
Swab.
you will be intern. You will be writing.
Yes. Swab for culture and sensitivity or mic.
Wound swab for culture and sensitivity. Okay. So now
Yes, sir.
only I am going to ask you. This is not given in your book, but anyway, practically I am asking. Suppose there is pus in this fellow, and you want to take swab for culture sensitivity. How will you take? Practically, you would
We
have seen
use a
already in
cot.
minor OT, thousands of swabs are taken daily.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How will they take?
As soon as they open the dressing of the wound, they take a cotton, like cotton over a wooden stick, and
Correct.
they try to
That is a
swab it
swab.
over the pus.
Yeah.
They put it into
They'll
the
just
test tube.
wipe over the wound. Suppose by the time you take that swab, if a sister pours off saline, is it okay?
Saline is fine.
Okay. Or will you tell the sister at least next time don't do like that?
Yes, sir.
You will tell. Okay. So why I asked this question? Because most of the PGs also I have asked, and they all are in the same boat. This is exactly the wrong way of taking the wound swab for culture sensitivity. Okay. For a good swab to be taken, the wound should be washed with saline so that no residual pus is there. You know by this time what is pus? It is all dead cells and dead organisms. Live organisms won't be there in the pus. Okay, it is only the tendency of the doctor is to take from the pus. It's not really that. To tell you the fact, if you take liver abscess, usually if you ask any of the PGs, they will take 1 liter, 1.5 liters of pus. And if you ask how many of those pus has come positive for organisms, if they tell 2 or 3, they are great. Not even one will come. Everything will come as sterile. Though you read about anchovy sauce pus, bacterial abscess, everything, it will be sterile because it's all destructed part of the tissue. Okay, so it should be washed and then taken over the wound of the floor of the ulcer, nicely wipe, then take into the lab. That will give the correct yield. Okay, don't take means I have also seen some people taking means when you take out the dressing which is on the which is removed, they will take swab from that also. Okay, that's not a right way of taking a swab. Anyway, x-ray of that region you will take to rule out.
Osteomyelitis
Yeah,
of the
one is
underlying.
directly ulcer having the osteomyelitis, and you also told that the patient is a diabetic, so you would also want to see he is having any joint changes or any Charcot's joint changes are there because it's diabetic. Okay, then
Yes.
arteriography of the bilateral lower limbs for what?
Mm. Like if you're any angiopathy and arterial ulcers are suspected, only then.
No, here you have written already specifically you want to do
Sir, since I
arteriography.
couldn't get the pulse, I thought of that.
Correct, correct. So arteriography is an invasive investigation. It is usually not
Uh,
done.
Doppler and duplex.
Yeah, just Doppler will do. Doppler,
Yes.
you will get sound. So it is more objective because your examination is still subjective. Doppler is more objective, though it is not really, it is not a record. It is a sound which you can, uh, handheld Dopplers are available. So that is first thing. If that is also showing some changes, then you can go for color Doppler scan or a duplex scan. So that
Yes.
will tell whether anything is there. Because arteriography is usually done with an intention of giving some treatment for that particular arterial disease. Suppose the same thing happens in femoral vein or femoral artery, then arteriography will do because you want to bypass
Okay.
the femoral artery and make some shunt or something like that. Here, suppose even if you get some block, you are not going to do anything because there is nothing else distally to do some procedure. So usually it is not done, but if you put it in theory, it works. Practically, it doesn't work. Chest
Yes.
X-ray, you want to do for what? Is a non-smoker you told,
Sir,
but you
just
want
to
to
rule
chest
out
X-ray.
tuberculosis, nothing else.
Okay. So already I told you in previous classes that you will also look for some screening, some common things. Also you will look for tuberculosis. Yeah. Biopsy. What biopsy you would like to see? Biopsy
Sir,
of what?
the edge of the ulcer.
Yeah. Edge wedge biopsy. Why edge is taken?
Because that's the live tissue and proliferating tissue.
Yeah. So already we discussed what is the edge and all. So here it is nice to tell edge wedge biopsy, but edge biopsy means what I mean is edge biopsy, edge of the ulcer. So you want to take biopsy. I also added edge wedge biopsy. Is it not? Edge biopsy is taking edge of the ulcer as a biopsy. Suppose this particular ulcer is a basal cell carcinoma or a tuberculous ulcer, the edge is different. If you take only edge, not along with the margin,
Normal tissue.
yeah. If the margin is not included, that still you can call it as edge biopsy. Okay. If the margin is involved in the biopsy and some normal tissue is taken, then you tell wedge biopsy. Means you take a wedge of tissue from normal to abnormal, means the ulcer. So
Okay.
edge wedge biopsy you will take. Okay. So treatment. Oral
Sir,
antibiotic.
sir,
Okay.
sir, I want to add correction of anemia also. I edited it
Correction.
after I sent you
Yes.
the PPT.
Yes. Correction of anemia. Correct.
And then surgical, the vac dressing and skin graft also.
See, everything
Like I
there is
want
no
to
need
add
to.
that too.
See, one thing is, that's what I am telling. In theory, you can write everything. Okay. I will just cleaning and dressing, debridement and dressing, and then I will do repeated debridement. You can go on because you want volume. You want to start from there and end in the end of the paper. So you can go on adding one end dressing, dressing. But practically, it is over the tip of the toe, means at the tip of the foot. So here putting vac, as you told, is practically not possible.
Not possible.
Yeah, vac needs closure. It needs closed
Yes, sir.
compartment. So here a lot of crevices are there, and it's not advisable for anybody to take a vac. Okay. So here debridement of dead tissue, but you are told my dead tissue is there. So okay, debridement and dressing. So that is serial debridement and dressing, and that should be enough for the ulcer to heal. If it is not healing, what will you do? Because you told sole of the foot is also involved, plantar aspect of the foot is also involved. Suppose if it is not healing, what will you do?
I don't know.
That is what is required here. Okay.
Yes.
One, debridement if you do,
Like
fine.
we'll wait for it to show healing,
Yes,
signs
you
of
waited
healing.
for probably 1 month, 2 months. It is not healing. So you will see why it is not healing. One, it is a
Underlying cause.
mobile part. You cannot give rest. You cannot ask the patient to be bedridden. So there will be some movement. Some people are writing skin graft. You cannot put a graft over
But if
toes
it's not
and
healing,
plantar aspect, which crosses the joint also. So crossing the joint itself is a contraindication. Weight bearing area is second contraindication for graft, which will come out in any time. If you put graft and you ask the patient to walk, it will come out. Okay. So graft is not a practical option. Here it is a third toe. You can, means finger, if you take off a finger, there will be a lot of changes. Toe, if you take off one toe, there is not much of change which is suffered by patient. So if it is not healing and hindering in his walk, because it is involving sole, you can see whether it is, in spite of your best treatment, it is not healing and it is spreading, then you will do a ray amputation. Ray amputation is um, uh, a broad base and a wedge-like incision is taken, so that when you take off the toe, that will close. Okay, that is a last resort for non-healing surgical treatment for. So suppose if it is showing healing but not satisfactorily, there are some other things like what you have written here is antibiotics if it is infected. If it is not infected, you are not going to give. Anti-diabetics anyway you will give. For ulcer, there is no medical line of management you have written. There are some things which you can write, like there are some ointments called placenta extracts which
Corion
you
and
can put locally, which are very nicely available, cheap and non-surgical. Good compliance will be there. There are ointments available which are derived from vascular derived growth factors, VEGF. Okay, uh,
yes, sir.
epithelial derived growth factors. They are all made into ointments. They are available. Then there are some ointments which promotes uh, faster healing, like silver containing ointments. There are some brand names called Hydro Heal, Mega Heal, all those. Those contain nanocrystalline silver, which is a kind of disinfectant at that point, and also aid in it is antibacterial at that point when applied, and also cause more of healing. And there are some other things called fibrin glue, collagen granules, collagen paste, collagen sheets, all are available, which are required for wound to heal. You need fibroblasts, you need collagen, you need so many things. So all those are available. You can put it over the wound and wait for few days or weeks. Usually smaller wounds will usually heal off. Even if it is bigger, the area will come significantly reduced. Then we can go for a definitive management, either closure or secondary closure, or graft, based on
Yes,
wherever it is. Okay, those things you can put as non-surgical options. Surgical options, here it is safer. If it is involving foot and all, then it becomes all amputations, everything will come into picture. Advice, you have put MCR footwear. What is important here is MCR is microcellular rubber. Um, it is to avoid pressure points for the diabetics
pressure
because
and
they are having.
oxygenation.
Hello?
To decrease the pressure and
Yes,
oxygenation of the tissues.
correct, correct. So microcellular rubber is not really opaque. They has some porous nature, so which
Yes,
gives some ventilation. But here what is important is he should have weight offloading footwear. It's not MCR footwear alone which is important. Weight offloading. That means the footwear will be made some corrections by the fellow, so that the weight is not borne in that particular ulcer bearing area. It is
okay,
taken by the other part of the foot, which gives
okay, sir.
local rest to that part of the foot. That
Yes,
is more important for any ulcer. So you would have heard weight offloading footwear in osteomyelitis or some other orthopedic disorders, where you will shift the weight bearing area from one part of the foot by raising the wedge of the footwear.
yes, sir.
Those some corrections will be made in footwear. They are called weight offloading. So that is more important. Foot care, as you rightly mentioned, he has to take care. So usually diabetic patients are advised to take care of their foot as they take care of their face. Means daily you will wash your face for 2 times at least, then see in a mirror, uh, and if it is very moist, you'll make some
Keep it dry.
arrangements to make it dry. If it is too dry, you apply moisturizer. So like that, foot also need to be, they have to have a mirror, foot mirror, and see for crevices, specifically web space are more commonly infected to start with, and usually they will start with small ulcers, and you know how they progress so fast and they end up in amputation. So
Yes.
daily they have to see at least once, and they have to keep it clean, and footwear, everything, all those things are there. Nutritious food, okay, but you have to, more important is diabetic food.
Diabetic.
Yeah, their
Yes,
food
sir.
habit should be regular, and it should be more for diabetes related things, not nutrition. Multivitamins, neuropathy, multivitamins is more required, but they have to avoid high glycemic index foods, because in the way of nutrition, if you give more carbohydrates and high glycemic index, that itself will cause delay in wound healing.
Wound healing.
So here, while writing treatment, one is local. See, in third term, you would have read in the Robbins, Hirschman and all, there will be a tabular column, factors uh, affecting the wound healing,
Wound healing.
factors delaying wound healing, factors accelerating or aggravating or whatever wound healing. So there you would have divided local factors, systemic factors, is it not? So here
Yes,
also,
sir.
while writing this particular area, you have to locally what and all you can do, and comorbidities like diabetes and anemia, what and all you can do, and systemic like multivitamins, all this food, have good hygiene, all those things you have to take. So that will make the treatment a whole treatment. That is what you would have read, treat patient as a whole. Okay, so here all the GPE, everything, whatever you have found out, comorbidity, everything, all the things you have to treat.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that should be good enough to for a short case. But anyway, sometimes we will also get bored by asking the same questions. So sometimes it will spill over to what are the complications of the ulcer. Um, by this time, you will be knowing, what are the complications of ulcer.
Sir, it can become a non-healing ulcer.
Yeah, one,
There
you
can
should
be
start,
osteomyelitis of
rightly
the
you have
underlying.
told, you should start from healing ulcer will become non-healing ulcer first. Or sometimes it gets infected and spreading ulcer, and cellulitis. Sometimes it goes for gangrene, sometimes it goes for osteomyelitis and chronic sinuses, all those things. So one more extreme is sepsis, all those things will come.
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes it will go for that, and sometimes it will go for skin grafting. What are the types of skin grafting? Full thickness, partial thickness, or sometimes it will go for flaps, local flaps. What you can do, all those things.
Sir,
Okay,
I had a doubt while
yeah,
reading. Like, are there any flaps with respect to diabetic foot ulcers?
that's what. Foot ulcers usually at the toes, no flaps are there. Okay, but as I told earlier only, usually the grafts are not put in the plantar aspect.
Yes,
So
sir.
when there is a large ulcer like a large heel ulcer, and you don't want to amputate, there are some flaps which are tried, but usually they will end up in amputation. The idea of the treating doctor is to give a, a, a life with good mobility, and it should be useful. Means you can do
Yes.
whatever, means you can create one more ulcer putting a flap and all those things. You could have you can cover the ulcer, but he is not going to use that limb only, then there is no point. Or you can no, go on treating for 6 months in the hospital and cover an area of dorsum of foot or plantar aspect of foot, and making it 10 centimeter ulcer into 5 centimeter ulcer. Still it is not a good option. So suppose if it is deeper or involving some bone, or it is too large for anything to happen, then they will go for amputation. Amputation, another 2 weeks, he will put a good prosthesis and he can lead
Process.
almost near normal. So that will be the idea there. But usually, theoretically also, foot is usually try to conserve, means save the limb till it is not possible at all. Till that area, we will try to save the limb, because once it is taken out, there is no reattaching. So that should be last step. Amputation is the last step.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions
Thank you,
for
sir.
ulcer? We will see. Otherwise, Today we have already discussed in detail. Coming discussions, we will not go in detail for every step. We can go a little faster and discuss the diagnosis and all. Okay. So anybody has any questions? So you can type or you can ask directly. Unmute yourself and ask.
Sir,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in examination he had mentioned inspection of bilateral lower limbs. What should we examine there, sir?
You will exam. See, when you are commenting
Other
on,
than other
yeah,
than the arterial lymph system,
yeah,
lymphadenopathy.
correct. So you are asking, you are only seeing for pulses and lymph nodes. So why should we examine bilateral instead of one limb? Is it not?
Yes, sir. But what should we like? If they
Sir, I
ask,
think he means what all should we check for in
Yeah,
both
yeah,
the limbs
correct.
apart from pulses
See,
and
should we
when
sensation?
check for like girth of the limb or
correct, that's
like
what I'm
what should
telling.
we check?
See, when you tell this ulcer is there and there is edema of the foot, if you see only one foot, you cannot identify edema is there or not. If you compare the other foot only, you will know that this foot is edematous compared to the other foot. Okay, it starts from symmetry, bilateral limb, how it looks. So when you are going for sensations, again you will check for bilaterality. You cannot means every aspect you will check compared to the other limb only.
Yes, sir.
Only ulcer alone you will examine in one limb. All the aspects which you mentioned in the pathological limb will also be checked in the non-pathological limb. So that's why you need to examine both limbs, not only artery and lymph nodes, everything, sensations, veins, gut, even suppose there are some ulcers where you will mention that skin is shiny and loss of fat, everything, only you can see the other limb and then only compare and comment. Otherwise, you cannot comment.
Thank you, sir.
Good question that is. So good that we started with ulcer because commonly ulcer is anyway means it is must and should for everybody. So we discussed about ulcer today. Most important uh, here he has already mentioned types of ulcer. Usually in DAS it is given in very small prints. That's where usually majority of the patients, students will get confused. Suppose if we ask what is this type of ulcer, immediately they will start telling traumatic ulcer, tuberculosis ulcer. They will mix up. So you should be clear that clinically there is healing, non-healing, and spreading ulcer, and pathologically specific and non-specific ulcer. And if you categorize
Yes.
this particular whichever ulcer you get into these two categories, and then tell where it is, that should be a very good diagnosis in the exam.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if there are
Yes,
no
sir.
other questions, so I think we will wind up. We have taken enough time. So next classes we'll cut down discussing on the history part on those things so that will be more crisp and to the point for the
Okay, sir.
exam. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good session. We had good session. So I hope everything is recorded. So I will see how we can share that. Okay. Thanks everyone.
Yes.
Have a good time.
Thank you, sir.
Stay home. Stay safe.
Yes.
Bye.